It's Julia here, and I want to show you how to do quick, easy brows using the Brow Obsession palette. I am obsessed with this palette because of how easy it is to make my eyes look more lifted and my brows more defined, because your brows really frame your face. And you can see right now I've got nothing on these brows, and it's really not very dramatic. They're very sparse, and one side is not quite filled in on top. There's splotchiness. So filling in your brows can make a huge impact on your overall look on your face. And I love using this palette. I want to show you how to use it. So this is a palette that comes with a little mirror, just a little magnetic closure, and it comes with a few things inside. Look at all these goodies, and you can also see that this palette is well used here. So what do we have in this palette? What are these things? It has 2 different powders for filling in your brows, and it actually has them numbered, which is kind of interesting. It has a 1 on this one and then a 2 on this one. So those are both powders. And then down below, 3 and 4, these are highlights. And one is kind of a matte pink, and one is a highlighter shimmer, kind of a champagne color. And the last one here is a setting wax. So let me show you how you use it. So the first thing you need to do is pair it up with an amazing brow brush. And this is the Brow Artistry brush. And what makes this amazing is that, one, it's two-sided, and I love having two-sided brushes because you can just kind of flip back and forth between them. But the difference on the 2 sides is one has an angled side and one has a flat side. So it just helps you get the brow products on a lot easier, and you have 2. So I'm gonna start off kind of filling it in, and I don't really want to do this like really heavy brow. I want to do more kind of a lighter, natural looking brow. I just want to use what I have and just kind of emphasize it and add a little bit more depth and color, so that would really frame my face. So I'm going to start off, and I like to use the angled side. And there's no right or wrong way to use this product. So if you want to experiment with it, you can. There's a number of different ways you can mess around with it, but this is what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to start off using the lighter shade here. And sometimes I just like to press it on the back of my hand, just to make sure that the powder is kind of even on my brush. So it's just kind of a little tap, not too much. And also kind of make sure that I don't have too much on the brush so that it doesn't go on too heavy. And I am going to, in very light strokes, I'm actually going to also hold the brush on the end here, because when you do that, you can do kind of lighter hand with pressing or getting the product on. When you hold your brushes closer to the tip, you tend to press harder. So I want to do kind of more light, subtle strokes. So I'm going to hold it closer to the end, maybe more the middle end here. And what I want to do is little tiny strokes that kind of mimic the lashes. And I'm just mostly concerned with the inside of my brows, and then I'm going to come back with the darker powder, and then I'm going to kind of make the shape more defined. And you can see just by doing that, was the camera just crazing out on me? What you can see is that one little dip that I did in that powder has really gone a long way. Shoot, I hope the camera doesn't freak out every single time I do something. So here we go. I'm still using the same dip into that powder, and I'm just kind of gently moving it around to fill in, and it's made such a huge difference already. I'm just going to grab a little bit more, and you don't have to tap it on the back of your hand. You can just tap it right there, and I'm just going to help fill in the inner side because I really don't have much here. And what you want to do is make sure you don't go too far in. So if you hold your brush like this, it's going to kind of give you a guide of where to stop. So I can see that line is like right here. So I'm going to just make sure it doesn't go past that, because then it starts looking a little funny. And I'm just going in little strokes and just adding a little bit more, building up on that. And if you get a little bit too much down there, you can just take your finger and kind of blend it. And I'm just kind of filling it in. So you can see the difference already between that. A little bit more. And once you get the hang of this, it goes pretty quick. And I try not to get too obsessed with the fact that my left and rights are not exactly the same. I have to get over that because they never will be. And in fact, if they were, it would look really weird to be perfectly symmetrical. What I like to do, and I forgot to mention this, is before I do my brows, I do brush them. So I just kind of comb through them so that they're all going in the same direction. And then I also do it after I put the powder on, and I'll just kind of go back and blend it. And that just makes sure that that powder is kind of even and has a really natural look to it. Already, you can see a huge difference. And I really only used a tiny bit of this powder. And I might go back and now grab a little bit of the darker color and just kind of go along the edge a little bit. And again, I'm just using small little strokes. And this is just making that darker color, making it a little bit more defined on that lower, oh shoot, the camera again, on that lower area of my brow. And then on the outer corner, you want to have it go not past, kind of if you were to move your brush like this is really the cutoff point, which is, oh geez. Sorry about that, the camera is just not behaving today. Maybe if I try and lock it. Let me see if I can lock it. There we go. Let's see if that helps. So you want to make sure that you don't go past this point here because that's going to look not natural too. So I'm just going to grab a little bit more, come to a point. And I have kind of more rounded arches on my brows. If you do want to kind of more emphasize arch, your arch should start right about this point here. So right in between my nose and my pupil, and that's where your arch is typically where it starts going downward. I'm just going to grab a little bit more of the dark and define the top a little bit more. And I might just go back to the other little brush and just comb that. And then on the inside here, I think it just needs a little bit more. And again, once you practice this and you get it down, it can go fairly quickly. So check that out. Big difference between the two sides there, don't you think? No fill in on this side, and then this side has the powder. Now sometimes I like to actually mix the setting wax with the powder, and what that does is it makes it a little bit on the creamier side, and that's really a preference. Some people prefer it to be more of a powder. Some people prefer it to be more of a cream so that you can play with that wax. And I usually would just kind of dip it in the wax, dip a little bit in the powder, and then on the back of my hand just kind of blend it together. And that gives a little bit more of a creaminess to it. And that's just another way you can work with the setting wax. Or you can also add it when you're done on top, and that just gives it a little bit of a lot more long wearing, and it gives it a little bit of a sheen to it. Not a lot, but a little bit of a sheen. And if you think about it, our hair has a little bit of sheen and shine to it. So this kind of just matches up with that. So I think I'm pretty good. You know, the inside here is a little bit lighter because that's usually naturally occurs. So I'm kind of want to just mimic that. But I think that looks pretty natural. What do you guys think? So the other things in the palette, the other two colors that I showed you were these, and here's the camera not behaving again. Let's see if I can get the camera to say the right exposure here. So the two setting, or not the setting, but the highlighters here. So you can take the other side, the flat side, and this is a flat matte pink. And when you put a lighter shade underneath your brow bone here, it gives you kind of an instant eye lift and gives the appearance that your eyes are bigger. So this just has a subtle pink color to it. Just kind of blend it downwards. And that just adds a little bit of a highlight, kind of opens up, and there goes the camera again, of course. And it just brightens up your eye. Just like that. It also has this shimmer on here, so I can just clean this off my brush on a little towel. I like to use a Viva paper towel because it's more firm than a Kleenex. And then I also use a brush cleaner, so I always clean my brushes with this brush cleaner when I'm all done. So I'm going to show you how to use this cream over here, this highlighter. And again, I'm going to use the flat side. So this has a little bit of a shimmer. So you can also, depending on your preference, maybe you just like that more matte pink look, but you could also add a little bit of this highlighter up at the top, and it's going to do the same thing. It's going to make the light part of the eye on top here is going to make like, it looks like you have more of a lifted look to it. And sometimes I just pat it so that because the heat of your finger kind of will make it melt into your skin a little bit more. And that's going to give more of a shimmer highlight. But what you could also do is put this in your inner corner. So I like to grab a little bit with my pinky and just pop that in my inner corner. Now I haven't done my eye makeup yet, but I want to show you that by popping it into that inner corner, it immediately lightens and brightens that inside there. So you can use that here. You could also use this shimmer as a highlight on the upper high points of your cheekbone. So with this palette, you're really getting a highlighter as well. And that's just gonna add a beautiful glow to your skin right at the top here. Really, really pretty. You could also put a little bit on the bridge of your nose and a little bit on your Cupid's bow. So you really can use it as a traditional highlighter. And you could actually use this as an eyeshadow too. So I could just take one of my eyeshadow brushes. Let's see here, I'll grab a blending brush and I will grab a crease brush. So I can kind of do like a little bit of a contour into the crease. So if you like a really light makeup look, you can just grab a little bit of this powder. And with this crease brush, I'm gonna just bring this in at the crease and above the crease. And you can see it doesn't look great right now, but that's okay because we're gonna blend. And I'm also gonna pull a little bit down. So I'm using this as an eyeshadow too. I mean, why not? It's just this beautiful matte brown, which works perfectly into the crease as an eye contour. Then I'm gonna take that blending brush. I'm just gonna go back and forth. And this is where the magic happens because this is what's gonna make it not look like you've added a lot of makeup. And makes it just perfectly like soft and no harsh edges. And then it's just personal preference on how much depth you want to add to your eye. And you can keep going back and forth, blending that out. So if you like a really light, no makeup look and you don't want to have to deal with a lot of products, you can use this palette as a highlight and an eyeshadow all in one. In fact, I could take some of that 3D cream. Let's do that. Just need a little bit more, I think right here. I could take that 3D cream with that shimmer, and with my index finger, I can just pat that right on my lid. And it's gonna have a beautiful kind of brightness to my lid. So you're doing like basically a contour with your eyes, because the brown, the darker brown is gonna recede back, make it look like your sockets are bigger or deeper, and then the highlight on your lid is gonna make your eye look bigger on the lid there. And that's how you could use it. You could even use a little bit of this. I could bring this down to my lower, and again, I haven't done anything with my eyes yet. You could bring it down underneath as a highlight, or on the waterline, which is really great to get rid of that kind of pinky fleshy color and add this really pretty kind of champagne color. And there you have it. That's how you can use the Brow Obsession palette to get beautiful eyes. And you can see how that has really framed my face. Having brows really just adds a lot more contrast and attention to your eyes, really bringing the focal point to where you want it. And that is how I did my brows using the Brow Obsession palette. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please let me know down below, because look at this side, and now look at this side. Brows do matter, right? Okay, bye.